guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, you guys, we are in week 7 of college football. That means we are close to the halfway point. And after the halfway point, instead of giving you my picks for the top 25, I am going to give you my top 10 picks. So for week 7 and week 8, we are going to continue picks, but then in week 9, I'm going to start giving you my top 10 as we inch closer to those playoffs and that national championship. So let's get started with this week's games. First, we have South Florida, who is ranked 24th against North Texas. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen much of either of these teams, but I'm going to give it to South Florida here. Then we have the number 8 Crimson Tide, who got a big victory over the Vanderbilt Commodores last week. It was a tough one. I knew it was going to be. That quarterback is no joke, and they beat us last year, but we pulled out the win against number 14 Missouri, who is another team that is no joke. They are undefeated this season. The SEC is so strong this year. But I am going to give it to Alabama. I'm going to give them the victory. I feel like ever since they lost to Florida State in the beginning of the year, they have kind of had a chip on their shoulder, and hopefully they continue to play that way. Then we have number 1 Ohio State versus number 17 Illinois. And I wish that I could have an upset here just because it would be fun for the Big Ten. But after seeing the way Illinois got beat against Indiana, I can't do it. Ohio State's taking this victory. Then we have Pitt versus Florida State, and Florida State is ranked 25th. And we saw Florida State have a big loss against Virginia. So I feel like they're kind of shaky. And Pitt's at 3-2 as well, so they're playing good. But I am going to give it to Florida State. I think that they're going to have more juice in them than Pitt does, but that Florida State team, I'm not sure what to think about them. And unfortunately, they're the ones that beat Alabama, but I'm just not sure what to think about them. They feel a little inconsistent to me. Then we have Washington State versus number 4 Ole Miss. Definitely giving this to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. They had a huge victory over LSU, and I think that they definitely don't slow down this week against Washington State. Then we have a Big Ten matchup, and this one means a lot because both of these teams are, besides Ohio State, the best in the Big Ten. So we have number 7 Indiana versus number 3 Oregon. They're both 5-0, so somebody's getting their first loss here. And Oregon is my pick for the Big Ten, so I got to ride with them. But I definitely think this is going to be a close game. I think it is going to be within 1 point, not 1 point, 1 score. And I think that Indiana is going to show who they really are. They kind of put us on notice against that Illinois team, and I think they're going to do the same here against Oregon. I think that they're going to really show us what they can do. Then we have number 6 Oklahoma versus an unranked Texas. And if you would have told me at the beginning of the season, I would have said Texas was unranked. I probably wouldn't have believed it. I really thought Arch Manning was going to get that team in the top 10. And it's not clicking for them. So I have to give this one to Oklahoma. They are clicking and making plays a lot more than Texas is right now. But I will say, if Arch Manning wants to stay in any kind of playoff talk, this has to be a victory for him. He has to make his mark here in this rivalry. But I can't pull the trigger on them. I've got to go Oklahoma. Then we have Virginia Tech versus number 13 Georgia Tech. Definitely giving this game to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is 5-0. They've been playing really, really well. They are the front runner in the ACC right now, and I think that definitely does not slow down against this Tech team. Then we have NC State and Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's been a little shaky, but they've seemed to have found some ground and found some base, and they're now 3-2. So I still think they're ranked a little too high, but I'm definitely going to give them this victory over NC State. I think that they're going to continue to try to build that resume so that at the end of the year we are talking about them in that playoffs. Then we have number 22, Iowa State versus Colorado. Another team that's been a little rocky is Deion Sanders' Colorado team. After losing Sugar last year and Travis Hunter, they haven't really found their stable ground. I have no doubt that Deion can get there. I just don't think it's going to be this year, and I don't think it's going to be this week. I think Iowa State pulls out this victory against Colorado. Then we have Arkansas versus Tennessee. I am going with Tennessee here. I think that they are the better team. I think Arkansas still has a lot to build on and a lot to grow, and Tennessee has grown. They are so good. Their only loss is to Georgia, and that was a very close loss. So I think that they definitely prevail in this one. Then we have Florida versus Texas A&M. We're definitely giving this to the Aggies here. I think that Texas A&M is kind of a shock in the SEC, and I don't mean that any shade towards them. Just recently in the SEC, we've talked more about the LSUs, the Bamas, the Georgias, even the Tennessees. And Texas A&M has kind of taken the shadow behind all of them. But this year they are reclaiming that spot and they are saying, we are still here, we are still competing, and we mean business. So I definitely think Texas A&M pulls out that victory against Florida, and I think that they remain one of the great teams in the SEC. Then we have Kansas versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is ranked at 9 and they're undefeated. And I think that they stay undefeated this week. I don't think Kansas beats them. I think that the Red Raiders have really found a good rhythm, and I think that that continues with this Kansas team. I will say this Texas Tech team, we will see how good they truly are in these next few weeks, because as we get into that middle bulk of that schedule, games get harder, people get tired. So I definitely think that the next few weeks will show how truly that Texas Tech team can compete. But I think that they got it in the bag against this Kansas team. Then we have 10, Georgia versus Auburn, and I cannot pick Auburn, so we're going Georgia all the way here. Georgia's still a great football team. The only loss they have is to my Crimson Tide. Kirby Smart will always keep that team competing, and I think that that's no different here. Then we have 15, Michigan and USC. Now, USC is undefeated, or not undefeated. They've only lost one game. They're 4-1. They have the same record as Michigan. So could this be another upset like the UCLA Penn State game? I wouldn't be surprised, but I am ultimately going to give it to Michigan. I think that they will have more of the talent than USC, but I'm not sleeping on that USC team. This one could be a tough one. Then we have South Carolina versus LSU, and I am going LSU here. Another strong team in the SEC, another great team that is competing. The only loss that they have is to number 4 Ole Miss, so that is definitely nothing to hang their hat on. So I'm going to go LSU here. Then we have number 18 BYU versus Arizona. BYU has been another team that has really found their stride and made their mark, and I'm going to go with them here. And finally, we have 21 Arizona State versus Utah, and these teams are both 4-1. I feel like this is going to be a close game, but I'm going to stick with Arizona State on this one. Let me know how your team is doing. Let me know your picks for this week, and who do you think could be the upset this week? Could we see another UCLA Penn State upset, or will everything go as planned? Let me know. As always, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and follow me on all socials.